Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Dennis Kiefer from AGC New York State, and with me is Dave Carl from the Safety Meeting app. We're going to wait just a couple minutes to make sure we've got a number of people who are signed up and registered for the webinar, that they are on board. So we'll start in a couple minutes. I just want to, I'll introduce Dave to everybody here. And Dave was gracious enough to come from Portland over the weekend, and he's got a couple of appointments here in New York today and tomorrow, and he graced us with his presence here at AGC to do a little webinar on the Safety Meeting app. If you're not familiar with it, we've been promoting it for probably a couple of years now. Yeah. And what Dave's going to do is just give you an overview of the whole app, which is also, you know, on the internet. There's a sort of a home page on the internet, right, where your admin people would go to. But this is completely field related over your phone or tablet or any kind of field mobile device. Correct. With the app, and you'll see the ease of it, and you'll see the multi-user applications of it. We think it's a very, very reasonable and efficient means for your toolbox talks. It's definitely better than the old paper route with some signatures and you know, papers hanging around in a folder. Very, very user-friendly. So we'll cover all that in a couple minutes. So we'll just wait 1 or 2 minutes to see that we've got, you know, most or all the attendees on there, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dave, and you'll see, you know, you'll see the movement on the screen and things. And if there are questions, there's the ability to type the question in. If you are unable to type that in or don't want to do that or think of it later, you can either contact AGC or Dave himself, and I'll give your number out. And things. Yeah, I'll give everybody my info. Okay. So some way we can answer your questions. If it's not during the presentation, it'll be afterwards, and that'll be just fine. Yeah, we type in your questions on the right-hand side there. It'll appear on our screen, and Dave will either answer it during the presentation while it comes up or at the end of it. In any event, we'll cover it all. And again, we've done this for a couple of years. We have what we call an AGC side of the app, where AGC members, if you do subscribe to the service, you will get 1,000 toolbox talks plus the couple hundred that AGC developed. Right. Which is different than if people just go to the app itself. You kind of get, I want to say, you know, the regular ones. Right, right. Yours is a little bit more robust than what we normally would. Yeah. So, you know, for AGC members, there's a little bit of a bonus there to get some of our homemade apps. And now Dave is telling me that even this morning there's some updates with some checklists and things, which, again, AGC will kind of do our little homework on that and maybe customize those a little bit more towards AGC members. And, I'd love to do it. And our guys. So with that, why don't we turn it over? It's 9:05. We'll get Dave on here, and we'll let you know. Great. Appreciate it. So just going to look to see how many people do we have on there right now. Can we see who's... Okay, I just take a look here. Looks like about 15. Is that what we're saying? Yep. Cool. Great. Well, welcome. I didn't know when I came from Portland, Oregon, that I was coming to Arizona. So I think this is crazy, the weather you guys are having. But definitely enjoy it. Appreciate it. So to get started, I want you guys to all know this, that when you sign up for the Safety Meeting app, and I'm going to show you how to sign up, everybody who signs up gets a free 30-day trial. So what we want to make sure is when you sign up for this, that you're not committed to anything, even though when you do sign up, we always ask for a credit card. We don't run the credit card. We basically just do that to make sure that when we're sitting down helping with somebody, you're somewhat committed to really looking at this thing. So that kind of helps us know that we're not, I guess, I hate to say it this way, but wasting our time just dealing with someone who's just looking around, that you're somewhat looking at something that might help your business. So just to give you an idea, I'm going to walk you through how to get started, how to get going on the app. And like I said, you're not committed for 30 days.
During that 30 days, once you sign up, one of our customer service representatives will contact you and give you the opportunity. They'll walk you through it individually, make sure that you understand. If you have questions, you can call them at any time, email them at any time. They're there to help you not only get you familiar with it and customize it, but even help you with your guys out in the field, either a foreman or a supervisor on the field. They help them as well. So we don't look at this app as, you download it, you use it, and there's nobody on the back end to help you. So we look at it as it's sort of, we're in this together, and we want to make sure that it helps you with your safety needs and documentation, all that stuff that you have to do. So with that said, I just want to make sure you guys have that information as well. So to get started, what we would want you to do is we'd want you to go to the AGC website, okay? And once you go to the AGC website, you're going to go to the Toolbox Talks, right? And it's under Services. So you go to Services, you go to Toolbox Talks, and then at the bottom there's a link that says www.agcsafetymeetingapp.com. So when you click on that link, that's going to open up to the web page with the Safety Meeting App AGC, so you would get the AGC Safety Meeting App. Okay, so that's the way we want you to go in and get set up, because that ensures you to get all the bonus topics and checklists that will be provided to you guys as members. Okay, so now once you've done that, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go through and you're going to sign up for your free 30-day trial, right? Okay, so once you sign up for your free 30-day trial, it says sign me up for my free 30-day trial once they click on this. Okay.
Oh, that's the
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. So
it
says, yeah, so now you've clicked on it, and you see where it says click here to start my free 30-day trial. You click on that, you fill out some information about your company, and you're basically getting yourself all set up, right? So now once you've got set up and you've picked your plan, and maybe you might say, I want a 1-year, 20-user plan. During this 30 days, I want to take a look at that. Now, during this 30 days, you can go back and forth. You can add more users. You can say, I don't want that. I want a 3-year plan. You can do whatever you want, but at least pick some plan. We also have an ability for you to pick what type of trade you might be, whether you're concrete, whether you're paving. You can pick whichever one you want. Just to let you know, that can also switch as you get going into 30 days if you feel like maybe you might have picked an area that you wish you would have picked a different trade. But we'll get you through that too as well. So don't be too worried about picking the right one or not. We'll help you in making sure you have all the categories you want and all the topics and checklists that you might need. So we'll work with you on that. So now that you've filled everything out and you've got everything all set up, you're going to get a username and a password, okay? And this username and password is your ability to go in and get set up for your company, okay? And this is what one of our customer service rep teams members would do with you. They would say, okay, let's go through your username and password and let's get your company set up, right? So this would be what your dashboard page would be for your company, okay? And basically this is done on your computer in your office. It can be done on a phone or tablet as well, but it's a little bit easier to work from your office, and think of it as this is your admin page, okay? So now that I'm on my admin page, I'm looking at it. If you can look on the left-hand side, it says dashboard, it says meetings, incidents, checklist, company administration, reports, and settings, okay? So now that I'm on this page, the first place I always like to take one of my new signees, I guess, or new members set up to this is to company administration. So if I wanted to go to company administration, I'm just going to go over here and click on company administration. And so here's where you're going to want to put in your employees, okay? So if I want to add my employees, I could just click on right here and say add an employee. Boom. So I click on add, and as you can see here, I can add my employees. So I could say John, I've got to get in front of this a little bit better, and I need to put my glasses on so I can see a little bit better. Okay, so let's get back here and spell John right. So John, and last name is Jones. Okay, oh, geez, there we are. So John Jones, and we could put their title, their company, their notes. So a lot of people would put company in if maybe they're a sub of another company and you're doing this with another group, you could put them in. As you can see, we've made them active. Okay, so in many companies, you have employees that come and go. So if they've ever left us, and we can make them inactive down the road, we can click on this. And so, but they're still left inside all of your employees' names, and you can always bring them back in and make them active. So, and we would walk you through how to do that as well. So we could just save John Jones. Okay, for larger companies that have more than 100 names, if you want to send us that, our staff member are constantly putting in names for new hires and new companies, and we're able to do that for you as well. So just to let you know, if you have 10 or 15 employees, you can easily put them in. Larger groups, we can help you with that. Okay, so now we go to company profile. So company profile, what we like to do is we like to show you that we have all of these topics, and we have them under sort of trades. So as you can see, we have all these trades and there are topics that are in there. But you might want to sit there and say, okay, you know what? We don't need fencing topics, right? So fencing would be something that would not work for us. So what we can do is we could actually go in there and we would be able to show you how to basically deselect fencing topics. And we will help you do that when you're kind of setting this up. Or you might say insulation, we don't need insulation topics. And we would help you deselect fencing or guttering or insulation topics. And so you can limit the type of topics that you have. But as you first go in, all of these topics are available to you. Everything that we have is available when you first sign up. So,
hey, Dave, let me just interrupt you real quick. Most of our members are bigger GCs.
Correct.
So they may have those trades on a job.
Right.
And so, like you said, I mean, they don't have to deselect them.
Nope.
So they can certainly take them, which is good because if they do have a sub that doesn't have toolbox talks,
right,
the ability to go in there and say, hey, here's one for you. I can print it out.
Exactly.
Right. I could print it out. I could give it to them, even though that's not necessarily the way the app works.
If that's what they need it, right?
But it's there.
Yep.
It's there.
Yep.
And it is part of the 1,000 or so that you get.
Yeah.
So
right. And it's always growing. That 1,000 number might be well over 1,000.
Yeah.
That was a couple of years ago. So
yeah,
we always get more topics. What we find is companies will come to us and say, hey, here's a topic you don't have.
Right.
We love your system. We'll send it in, and we can add topics.
Right.
If you guys send them to us, we can add them to them if they're not in our database already.
And they could do that through us too. And so if they were a member, and let's say they're on our safety committee or something like that, and they say, hey, you know, that we use the system, but they're short a couple of these in this, you know, confined space or whatever.
Yeah.
Or now, you know, silica's new now too.
Yep.
Right. So maybe we need some silica toolbox talk.
Correct.
So they could come to us. We could come to you.
Put them in.
That way anyway.
So yeah, you're not committed to just this is what we have and we'll always just be that. So we look at our business as we want you guys to have what you need, right? And if you can send it to us and we can put it in, we're going to give it to you.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Cool. So yeah, no, definitely for topics, you know, we want to make sure that
ease of use. I mean, if you don't want them, take them out. If you do want them, leave them in. It doesn't hurt you either way.
Yep. And every topic, we have someone on staff who, if you need it in Spanish and we don't have it, everything we have is English and Spanish.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So that's a great tip.
Yeah. So if you feel like, hey, you know what, we needed both bilingual, we have that.
That's probably more important today than it has been.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got you set up. So think of it this way: we've got all of our employees' names in there, right? We know that they're all active, but we can go back into them and make them inactive if they're not. We've looked at all the topics. We've got them all in there. We've deselected ones maybe we would never use, but we've left them all there so they're available. So the next thing I always like to show everybody is let's go through and do a practice meeting. So think of it this way. The guys out in the field, what we have now is we have the ability to do their meetings. So they have their meetings that they could do from a phone or for a tablet, but they can also do it from your computer as well. So if you were somebody that just said, you know what, my guys out in the field do not have phones and they don't have tablets and they don't do it that way, well, you could say, hey, you know what, we could do and bring them all in the office. We could do it right from the laptop or from a desktop, or we could just do it right here where it's all stored that way. Make sense? So this is the way I always like to train someone, is saying, hey, let's just do it from the desktop. It's the same way as it would be on a phone or on a tablet. Now, one thing I always like to do too is back up a little bit before I get started and say to download this to your phone or to your tablet. Basically how that would work is if you're an Apple user, and let's say I have an Apple phone or maybe an iPad, what you're going to do is go to the App Store, right? You're going to go to the App Store and you're going to search in the App Store Safety Meeting App. Okay, once you search Safety Meeting App, when you click on it, it's going to ask you for your username and password. Okay, so for those that have just a single plan, I'm a single user, you would use the company username and password, and that would be downloaded to that phone or to that tablet, if that makes sense. But now if I'm a multi-user plan, and we'll talk about that in a minute, what a multi-user plan, it's set up for each of those users to be able to have their own unique username and password that's just theirs. They would only see their meetings, and they would only see basically the information that they've put in. That basically if I had another foreman that's at another location, they could have their own unique username and password, and they would put that one in, and then they would be using basically the app, and they would be logged in under their username and password. Everything would then come back to the main admin that's on my desktop today, and we would go through that. And like I said, once you get set up, we would work with you to help you get all your people set up so that they all have their own usernames and passwords. You would be very comfortable on how to get those guys set up and be able to set it up that way.
Which I think is a good feature if you've got multiple jobs.
Right.
And you want one foreman to see only their toolbox talks for that job.
Right.
It doesn't. You don't get the list of 40 toolbox talks that went on all over the place.
Exactly. Or let's say you're putting up some information about an incident that maybe happened on a job site, and you don't really think it's appropriate for everybody to share that information. So it's a nice way for people out in the field to be able to say, hey, we don't have everybody seeing everybody else.
Yeah, and I think too for our purposes, if you get an OSHA inspection and you want to show toolbox talks, you don't want to show the 40 that went on for 8 jobs. I want to show the toolbox talks that we had at this job here.
Correct. Exactly. So those would be things you'd want to look at when you get started. It's just saying how many guys on the field do I need to be using this, and let's set them up with their own unique usernames and passwords. So okay, so if I'm going to go in and I want to do a meeting, so we're going to click on a meeting. I'm just going to hit the add button. And as you can see, when you first go to meetings, you see all your meetings that you've had and what it looks like when you first click in. So if I hit add, the first part we see is it says logistics. So we're going to click on today's date. So today's the 25th, and as you can see, we could pick hour and we could pick minutes if we wanted to. I don't see that to be as important, but some companies want to put that in exactly the minute and time. But
well, it could be, because if you had an incident afterwards.
True.
You kind of want
that. Say, hey, we had that meeting in the morning.
Yeah,
and it
exactly.
happened in the
afternoon.
Yeah,
so. I think the more of that information, if it's there, it's probably okay to have it.
Right, exactly. So we've done that. We've added in, as you can see, the time, the project. For this one, we're just going to go with you as the project, just so that you can see that we put some information in there. The location could be, let's just go and you could put in whatever location they would be located at. Then you're going to say, okay, who's my leader? So my leader, as you can see, it gives me my list of all my employees. So we're going to go with, remember I just put in John Jones. So John Jones is my leader. And now, so we've got our leaders. So now we're going to say, okay, what's the topic for today? Okay, so we're going to look at all of our topics, and I'm just showing you guys, see all the different topics we have. And so we're going to go with scaffold platform construction, and you can see basically here's the topic. What we have found in talking to OSHA and a lot of OSHA people is the best safety meetings when you're out in the field is to not just sit here and read all this information to these people, but to use this as a template. And to be able to say, hey, I got my guy on the field. He's got some really good information here. He's going to go through this, so he's basically prepared. he might go through on scaffolding and some of these things here that are in this, but there might be some other things that are unique to that project that he's going to discuss.
And you still have the notes section.
Correct.
Right?
Right, we'll get to that.
Okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
So, yeah, no, we're good. So we're going to go through, and they've talked about basically scaffold platforms, and they've kind of went through this, and they've discussed it. And now we're going to go through and say, okay, who are the attendees at this meeting? And we're just going to click on, Dave was there, and Roger was there, and Joey Big of Donuts was there, right? Okay, so these are the attendees that were there. So we could click on those names, and those are the guys that were at our meeting. And just to give you an idea, one of the things that when I talk to groups, a lot of contractors are used to, getting signatures from guys. And I always tell them my little story. When we built this, when we were sitting down with Ocean, we were sitting down with attorneys. I was a little bit, how do I want to say? At least I brought up the whole signature thing and said, what do you guys want us to do with that? And they said, have you ever seen a list of contractors' signatures? And of course I had, right? And they said, very difficult to read, very hard for us to even know who was all there. And so they said, as long as you're clicking these names on, we're good with that. And I've got thousands of contractors, hundreds of thousands of meetings, and never had an issue with it. But for some companies, they still want signatures. Well, what we've done is we've said, hey, if that's something you feel like you can't do without, if you think about it on a tablet or a phone, you can take a picture, right? So the next thing they do is when they put attendees on, their camera functionality appears, right? And they could take a picture of that group, right? So we could take a picture and say, here's Joey Bag of Donuts, here's everybody, here's a picture of them, just to double show you that they were there, right? If I feel like this, okay, not needed, but there for you as well. Or if you really wanted everybody to sign a sheet of paper and you wanted to take a picture of that sheet of paper, you could just take a picture of it and it would add to the safety meeting. So we've kind of said, okay, we don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. It's really up to you guys what you want to add to your safety meetings. But if you just wanted to pick their names and click on them, you're good to go. Now, the other piece of this is, so we said, okay, photo, okay, on my laptop, we don't have the photo capabilities, so we're going to click through this. But I will tell you, notes was important to them, okay? They feel as if in a safety meeting, having the ability to have this thing be something where you're talking to the group and you're discussing safety, that it would make a lot of sense for you to bring up to them something like, do you guys have any concerns? Okay, today we're talking about scaffolding, but there might be something in this job site, today we're having our safety meeting, that you guys want to discuss. So maybe we discuss that, hey, there's a big, huge hole that maybe we should put a railing around, right? So that might come up and we might want to put some notes in about that. So you're going to want to go in and let me click on some notes that we're going to say hole needs to be filled, right? Something like that, right? Or there might be some other topics that occurred that we were discussing.
I think that's huge important when you're talking about your specific scaffold.
Exactly.
Access is on the east side only.
Right.
You add that note in there, and now it's not a generic toolbox talk anymore.
Exactly. It's more than that, and they could see that you guys have really good safety meetings, right, and that you've done a little bit more than just, hey, we checked the boxes and
we're good.
Right,
and we went through it.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So now we've done basically our safety meeting. We hit save, right? And you're going to see, so think of it this way. I have 30 guys on the field, and as soon as I hit save, as you can see at the bottom, there's our safety meeting. Our safety meeting is instantly on my desktop, ready to go. And now, not only is it saved, it's saved in a PDF, and I'm trying to make this a little bit larger so that I can, up here. Okay, thanks. Oh, there we are. So now let's take a look at what our safety meeting looks like. Okay, so we can go over here and instantaneously, boom, we're going to click on this. Is it opening over here? Okay, there we are. And that's what our safety meeting looks like. And now if you ever need to pull that out, if you need to send it to someone, it's now saved into PDF, and you can just email it to whoever you need to.
And the attendees are on the bottom?
Yep.
Right.
And there's my attendees. Wonder if That's kind of crazy. So my attendees did not fill in. Where's Joey Bag of Donuts? Maybe we should go back. At the end of this, I'll go back in. We'll do another one and just see if there's something glitching that's not letting our attendees.
Well, I mean, I've used it 100 times, and typical is that the report comes up with the attendees listed.
Correct.
Right.
And you can see it basically has project, location, AGC demo. You know, this would have your company name at the top.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now to go back. All right, there we are. Okay, so we're there. So we just went through, we did a safety meeting. Now we're going to go to incident documentation. So basically an incident to us, there's two types of incidents. There's the incident where someone could be out on a job site, and let's say you're talking to someone about, let's say, horseplay. You know, there's somebody out there and you have seen them and you want to put some information about the guy's been screwing around, he's just, you know, you're not real happy with the way they're behaving on the job site. That's what an incident could be, right? It could be something like that. Or an incident could be the guy's not wearing a hard hat, right? Or things like this that you just think would be important as a safety guy out in the field, that you just want to start documenting some behaviors that you think maybe are just a little bit that the company isn't really happy with. And you want to just make sure that you're starting to put some information together. Okay, that's an incident. Okay, another one could be someone gets hurt, right? And let's say a guy falls off a ladder or something like that, and you want to put some information in. This is not designed to be, you know, your OSHA 40 log and to go through all that, because that's pretty cumbersome. But this is more for you as a safety guy or safety director to be able to say, hey, I've got quick information for my guys to be able to go into the incident documentation and put some information that they're out there and they can get some really key information. I'm just going to kind of go through that with you.
While you're doing that, let me ask you one question.
Yeah.
I haven't used it in a while, but I think that has the ability to type a note and then sign it, right, with a pen or a finger or something like that, right?
Yep. So employee initials, we can.
I would say that one of the uses for that might be, I think everybody's probably got their own incident report, you know, template. Through their either insurance or their safety program or something. They probably got to use their own incident report to do for their company. But this is a good opportunity to get a statement from a witness.
Yep.
Hey, I was there when Joey, you know, twisted his ankle in that hole we had there.
Right.
And then sign it.
Right.
And that becomes your statement rather than maybe having a guy or waiting till the end of the day to fill out something on a legal pad and, you know, forgets about it. So
a lot of things going on.
Potentially this is good use right in the field. Have the guy type a little note.
Yep.
2-3 sentences. It doesn't have to be a novel.
Right.
And then sign it.
Yeah.
And you can attach it to whatever. It's saved.
Yeah, I want to make you aware that you know that I've told you a couple of times that you need to wear your helmet. Please sign your initial here that I've told you this.
Yeah.
So you know that they knew if anything ever happened, he wasn't wearing a safety helmet, then you go, hey, he signed this other times.
So basically, this is an electronic notepad.
Yep.
Where you could do a number of things in this area.
Let's just do horse play, right? So we're just typed in the details. We can click on, we could pick on the employee's name. We'll say it's Joey Bag of Donuts. You could tell he'd be having troubles with horseplay, right? Okay. So then we click on. We could go initials, and on our basically on the tablet or on our computer here, we don't have the signature capability.
Right.
But on the tablet, and if you clicked on initials, it has a space for them to put that in. If you needed to take a picture, okay, let's say someone got hurt on the ladder and literally the ladder broke. So it wasn't nobody was doing anything wrong, even though it was the horseplay, but literally the ladder broke. You could take a picture of a broken ladder and say, okay, here's what happened. And then we were just talking about notes, and you could go into notes, and this is where you could say, man, I need to get some quick information in here, and I'm just going to put some notes in, and then I can hit save, right? So this quickly is a spot for them to be able to go in, and now I've got some information about an incident.
Yeah, and then even if you have to go back later and do your company's form,
yep,
you at least have
quite a bit more information,
something
and you don't have to track down everybody to figure out everything that's going on. Correct. Okay, so we've done a meeting, we've done incidents, and now this is a new one. We just came out with this, and one of the things we're real proud of is the relationship we have with contractors. and a couple of things that we've added in the last year, and we're always adding new features. And these new features come because guys out in the field communicate with us. And checklists basically came from people out in the field that were using our safety meetings, and they were going, you know what, it would be really handy for us to be able to go out in the field and say, we have to inspect harnesses all the time. We have to inspect, it could be vehicles. It could be many different things. And so one of the things I always like to say is we've added checklists, okay? And these are checklists that have all come from companies out in the field. And if these checklists do not fit your needs, one of the things I was telling Dennis is we're glad to put in more, right? We're glad to put in more checklists so that if the ones that you need are not in there, send them to us and we'll add those in, just like we were talking about safety meetings, right? That we'll add them. But think of it this way. It has to be something, when we look at this, that someone would do on a phone or a tablet, right? That if you think about a phone and trying to type in a ton of information probably would be difficult. So when you send us that checklist, the types of checklists that we think make sense are ones that you could go yes, no, NA, yes, no, NA, go over and over and over. But if they pick no, that gives them a box to be able to put in, this is the reason why.
A short comment.
Right? A short information, a little bit of info that they could get through, because those are the ones that guys use.
Right.
If it gets into, oh boy, I got to sit and type a whole story here, probably not going to get done.
Well, so, I think you lose the whole efficiency of the program there.
So I want to give you I'll give you a chance to look at what checklists look like. So we just click on checklist, we hit add. We have a drop down. So an example is, hot work permit. Okay, so we're going to hit OK, and as you can see, it's job location known, hot work safety, authorized individual, person doing the work, fire watch. So this is one that was sent to us. Area is fire safe. Basically you can see how these things look. There's many other ones you could look at and just see what you look, but it kind of gives you a feel for what was already provided, and this is what we use. But we're glad to add more.
Yeah.
So, and eventually, we don't have this right now, but we're working towards this. As once you get set up in your company, you'll be able to pick out your favorites, and those would be the ones your company would see, so they wouldn't see all of them.
Okay.
So that the admin would be able to say, these are the 6 that we need, and we want those.
But again, I mean, more is better.
Well, we want the admin, we want them to always say, see, I can see everything.
Right.
And then they can limit what they want, or even go back in and say, hey, there's been new ones added.
Yeah.
I want to go back in and look and say, wow, that one makes sense to us, or that one's better than the one we use. I like that one more.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Does that, Dave, too, now have, if you've used the checklist and you save it, is it turned into a PDF?
Same thing.
Saying, emailed and all the same?
Yep, same way. So, and this is brand new, so like I said, we've had a lot of requests. So these things, when you give us one to do, probably would take us a little bit of time. Not, we'll get we just get so many handed to us all the time that we're just, as soon as we get them done. And like I said, you will have your customer service person you'll be dealing with. She will probably be the one who puts it in for you. So like I said, we're glad to work with you guys. Okay, we talked about company administration already, but now we're going to go to reports. Okay, so let's get back out of here. Let's see if we can, okay, I got to save that or cancel that. And now we get to reports. And what reports are is for, let's say an example is I've had, hundreds of safety meetings, right? I've been doing them for 6 months, but now we have somebody get hurt, right? Someone now has got hurt on the job site, and I want to go in and I want to pick this guy's name who got hurt, and we're going to say, let's go with Mike Smith. So we picked Mike Smith. Mike got hurt today. When I put his name in, it'll give me every one of the meetings. If I don't know if Mike Smith has even done any meetings, and that's why probably he hasn't done any yet. But it would give us every meeting Mike Smith has ever attended. So we would be able to go in and quickly, let's see if I can pick another name. Oh, let's go here. Oh, where are we at here? Let's bring it back. Yeah. Shoot. Okay, let's see. Sign in. All right, let's go back to reports. Let's pick employee. Let's pick another one. Let's hit my drop down. And let's try Dave Cumberland. See if we hit OK here. There we are. There we are. So there's, it looks like he's been to a couple here, so we can see. So these are all the different meetings that might, so Dave Cumberland's either been a leader on, or he's been in these meetings. So you can see how it would give it to you, so you can see which ones he's been to. And it'll help you look it up.
I think that's a huge, important information.
Oh, it's a huge time saver. Think about all the meetings, all the information that you guys have stored, and just be able to put a name in. We're working on down the road for you guys to be able to go to reports and be able to put in a topic and say an example is, if we put in this topic header in, that we want everybody that within our group to have gone through scaffolding training or some sort of training that they've gone through a safety meeting on, and we got to make sure everybody's done it. Or it could be a lockout tagout or something like that you could just go in and click on it, and they give you the list of names of everybody and match it up to see if we're missing somebody. Make sense? So we're working on making the report feature quite a bit more robust. We're also working on it to be where you could pick last 30 days, last 90 days, things like that, so that you can even build it. And if you guys have special needs, let us know that we can maybe even build that out for reports. So reports, we're working on trying to make it so that as you're a safety contractor that you would be able to do it. We also want to even look at trends on how many meetings you did one month versus how many you've done other months, and making sure that it's not falling off, that maybe you're doing less, maybe you could show more, things like that. So we're really working on trying to build that out for you guys. Okay, so all right, toolbox talks. Let's see, where are we at here? Safety meeting app. Okay, so the next one is, I always like to show you guys, is settings. Okay, so settings are for multi-users. Okay, anything?
Can I just ask you on the reports part too?
Right.
If you're the admin and you're seeing 100 reports from all the 8 jobs we have,
right,
that can be sorted by date. You can sort the list of 100 reports. You can sort them by job, so that right. Oh, so I could see the university job, for example. I could see those 8 toolbox talks that were done.
Right.
And then as the admin, I can say, I can call the super and say, you haven't done one in 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Or, you're behind.
Right.
So it gives you the ability to see each job and what they've done, the activity.
Yep, and you're going to be, like I said, and we're going to be building that out. That's probably our big fourth quarter push.
Okay.
Is to really sit down and go through and sit with a bunch of safety directors and say, what do you need? All this data is in there.
Yep.
And how do you guys need it, and what form do you need it? So definitely your guys' feedback, the people we're talking to today, if you see some things that you're saying, hey, this is how we want to work with it, let us know, because we're working on it as we speak.
Good.
Okay, so we talked a little bit at the beginning about multi-users, and multi-users was another thing that came from basically feedback from contractors. So if you sign up for one user, you have the ability to have a username and password, and you could give it to 100 people, and you could literally share it. And a lot of you guys have, if you're signed up, that's the way you're doing it right now. But now if you say, no, you know what, we would like to be a multi-user, basically in the multi-user plan, this is how you set it up, and I'll just show you one and give you an idea how it gets set up. So an example is, as you can see right here, it says we have 19 of 20 because we're the admin. So right here it says available users, and Dennis, you might want to slide over here so I can show you this. So that so this is me setting up a multi-user plan. So if I have a multi-user plan, you can see right here it gives me 19 of 20 users, and I'm going to set up a new user. So right now I'm going to go in, and we have a username and password, right? And I'm going to add a new one. So we want to make them active, right? Boom. Okay. We don't want to give our users admin privilege, but we could literally go, okay, you know what? In your company, maybe you want a backup admin, right? So you have yourself as the safety person, but maybe the owner wants to be a backup. You could give them admin privileges, right? But normally you don't. So you're going to go in, and you want to give them their own unique username and password, right? So we're going to go in, and we're going to go, their username is Mike, and this a username always has to be all, no spaces. So Mike Jones. We'll go Mike Smith. Right? And we want to give them their own password, and we're going to give them a password of Top Gun. Okay? So that's theirs, and we're going to give them the ability to do a meeting, incidents, and add an employee if they had to. Okay, so we're going to save Mike Smith, and he's in there, right? So now we've added Mike Smith. Now, the cool thing about it is, remember when we first came into this, basically you signed in your username and password, right? Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is you want to go back in and you want to sign in as Mike Smith and go to the employees' names. And when you go to the employees' names, then it's going to say favorites. Okay? And when you go to favorites, you could go back in and you could type in, remember it was Mike Smith and Top Gun was his password. And you go back into all the employees and you click on Mike's favorites. When he does his safety meetings, all of his the employees that he normally works with will always come to the top. Okay?
And then you could reset that. So that's good for this job.
Right.
Because he's got these 6 guys for the next 6 months.
Right. So now when he does the safety meetings, you might have 200 employees. Oh, okay, thank you. That's Melissa, by the way, if you saw that. Melissa is one of my customer service reps who handles a lot of my live chat. So that's somebody you guys could be talking to.
And then Mike Smith's job is over. Right. And he goes to the next job and he's got 6 different guys. Right. He can do those favorites all over again.
Go back in and create new favorites. Right? And so it makes it so that if you have 200 employees, that he doesn't have to go through and fill out all of those people. But that shows you real quickly in settings. We go to settings, we go to users, we created their username and password, and we set up a new one. And you can do that for your 20 or 30, and as you have more and more and more.
Perfect.
So that when they sign up, they're just going in under their username and password. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's about it. So we went through the safety meeting app today. We went through meetings. We went through incident documentation, checklist. We set up, as you're a multi-user, how to set up your unique, users. And like I said, we're very customer friendly. We want to build a relationship with your company and help you as you are trying to keep track of all this safety stuff that we have to do. Make it easier for you guys. We get it. It's difficult. It's hard. There's a lot of moving pieces. Things are changing. Well, we kind of think of it as we work together. You guys are going to hear about stuff that's going on. You're going to see things that you want, and we just think of us as being kind of, symbiotic with us. That we're here to help you guys keep track of all this stuff.
Let me just give you my 2 cents. That some of the guys that are using it already. And there's a good list of AGC members that are already on board. I still go to the job sites. I still see the paper. Guys are signing their name if you can read it.
Right.
The paper goes in some folder somewhere. It sits on the desk. Maybe it gets to the file cabinet.
Right.
Maybe it doesn't.
Right. Oh,
or it's got coffee stains on it or whatever. Sure. This is pretty efficient. And now I think you and I talked too that if you do get an OSHA inspection, they want to see your toolbox talks. Perfectly fine to bring it up on the app. You can review each one that you've done right on your phone or tablet without going to the paper, finding out what we did.
I have contractors daily will tell me they just had an inspection, and the guy literally on the job site was asking him about their safety meetings, and he goes, which one do you need to look at?
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
And they're like, are you kidding me? And he goes, yeah, you click on it right here in front of you.
Yeah.
And they're like, perfect, great, we're good.
And then emailable.
Yeah.
The OSHA guy wants it, wants a copy,
Great.
Send it. The owner of your project wants it, send it.
Yep. Good to go.
No copies, no misplacing it. It's all controllable.
And instantly you could go in that morning and see who's done it. Instead of trying to figure out who hasn't done them, you could just literally look and say, Mike's done his, Joe's done his, Tom's done his. Well, I haven't seen Tim's.
Yeah.
I call Tim real quick and make sure that he does his.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it really is it's a nice tool. It makes it easy. We've tried to make it simple for the guy on the field because if we make it too complicated, they're not going to do it.
No.
Right? So we don't want to add a lot of, buttons to push and you have to go here. It's literally, I want to do a meeting. I want to see my past meetings.
It's the same amount of time as taking the piece of paper.
Right.
Going through text of the paper,
Right.
having them sign it, you're doing the same work.
Right.
It's not any different. And now it's just a little bit more efficient.
But even the other thing that they have, if you even go another step further, is at the bottom, which I can't show you on basically this screen, but on their phone and tablets, they have a reference tab that takes them back to the AGC website, I believe.
Okay, right, yeah.
So if there's information that is a code or something that you have on your website that they want to go through and they want to read something that's there, some information, they can click on that and it takes them right back to the AGC website, and they have all that information available as well. So it's not only, all the topics you guys have, we'll have checklists that other guys have added.
Yeah.
They have that resource is the AGC website there at the bottom. So it really is, and you think about it when you go through, it's a no-brainer for these guys to sign up for.
Yeah. Do you want to go through the pricing just real quick?
Yeah, just so you guys know. So if you sign up for a 1-year subscription, and this is yearly, so not monthly, it's $89 for just a 1-year subscription with one username and password. If you want 5 usernames and passwords, it's $178. If you want 10, it's $256. If you want 20, it gets to $358, I believe, something like that. So it's not unreasonable.
No,
and if you need more, 50 or 100, it still goes. I mean, it's like $500 for 50. It's $1,000 for 100. And these are all yearly prices. And like I said, we deal with those type of companies all the time. And what's nice about it is we get phone calls from, I have guys that have 50 guys out in the field those guys out in the field have our number.
Yeah.
And if they forget their username and password or can't log in, they're calling us. We don't want them calling because you don't need that hassle if I can't remember my username and password or it's not working. And like you see, Melissa or those people on our staff is there to help them. So for me, for a new company, maybe I'm not that big. $90 gives me, 1,200 toolbox talks. Yep.
English and Spanish for the most part, maybe not all of them.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Okay, so I have double the amount.
Yep.
I can eat bilingual.
Yep.
Use over the app, unlimited use.
Yep.
I mean, you couldn't buy toolbox talks for $90.
Right, and you got someone who's there to train you, walk you through it, call. Like I said, you can upgrade. I even tell people this is how customer friendly I try to be. Is let's say you sign up, and this happens, and you put down I want to be a 10-user plan, and you forget about this, and all of a sudden we charge you, right? And then all of a sudden you realize, you know what? I forgot. I was going to cancel. I don't want to do this. But to charge this. I mean, we refund those customers. We can see that you haven't used it. We can see it's something, or we give you a little bit more time and say, hey, we'd like to have you as a customer. We want you to, because we look at it this way. We want it to be that this is something you use and you're doing. And if you're not, we get it and we'll refund you. Now, if you had it for 4 or 5 months and now you're saying, hey, that doesn't make any sense, but you had the opportunity. But no, we're not here so you feel pressured like, oh my gosh, I signed up for this and they billed me and I got busy, I forgot to even look at it. So we believe word of mouth is important to us. We want our contractors to feel like we're part of the team and this is going to be good for everybody.
Good. Are there any questions on there that we should?
The only question that came up was basically someone at the beginning asked what the website was, and I think it was asking the AGC website, which is agcnys.org.
Okay.
Which it looks like Jackie posted that
for them. Okay, got it.
So it looks like it is posted.
Is there any more questions?
At this point, again, on the right-hand side is the question box if you want to type your questions. I don't see any more at this point.
Okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, and if anybody needs to, I'm going to give you my information. If you need to call me directly, my number is 503-504-0239, and it's Dave Carl. And I'm on the West Coast, so no, 6 in the morning phone calls. Okay, your guys' time, but yeah, definitely, I'm available. I'd love to talk to contractors. Or you can email me. I think that information's there. It's D Carl, so Dave Carl, so D is in David, Carl, CARL, @safetymeetingapp.com. You can email me too. So look forward to working with you guys, and we'll stay in touch. And I'm sure Dennis and Brendan, thank you so much. And Patrick came to sit with us here at the office, so appreciate the opportunity to share this with you guys, and look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This is being recorded as well, so if you do have any additional employees that do want to see this, we will post it up on the AGC website. Probably put it right in the safety section under services again, for anybody that you want to refer to take a look at the recording itself. So that's it.
Okay. Sign off.